The kids cash in. That's the focus of tonight's angle. The British royalty has always been like cocaine to the press. They can never get enough of it. In the tabloid era, it was Princess Diana, then William and Kate. But there seems to have been a whole new level of adoration reserved for Prince Harry and his wife, Meghan Markle. For the global elites, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were the long-awaited cure-all for everything that was wrong in the stuffy, stuck-on protocol royal family.
We must appreciate our planet and what it has to offer. The world we live in cannot be replicated or tamed.
Feminism is about fairness, the basic and fundamental human right of being able to participate in the choices for your future and that of your community.
As a biracial woman marrying into an institution seen by so many as a bastion of white privilege and a symbol of the abuses of colonialism, Meghan Markle has quickly been adopted as a beacon of potential change here.
Well, but after months of complaining that they actually hadn't been accepted by the royals, Harry and Meghan dropped a bombshell, didn't even call the Queen, and they did it via Instagram, insisting that we intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to support Her Majesty the Queen. In other words, we're not going to do what's expected of us, but we're happy to cash in on the whole royal thing.
They want to collaborate with the Queen and Prince Charles and Prince William rather than having this system where they have to be told what to do all the time.
That sounds like my kids. They don't want to do what they're supposed to do. They just want to keep getting free stuff. All right. Well, they want the benefits of being a prince and a princess, but they see themselves more like Jay-Z and Beyonce than Will and Kate or Duke and Duchess. Now, there are reports that they've even trademarked their titles, or want to, as they wait for, what, their baby boy to determine his own gender identity? Well, they're going to live a transcontinental life, likely in Canada and in England. But make no mistake, they'll still live off the royal family, and when in the UK, they'll continue to reside at the palatial home gifted to them by the Queen, and refurbished especially for them, courtesy of the British taxpayers. The royal family, still reeling from Prince Andrew's connection with Jeffrey Epstein, is reportedly appalled by the duo's ungrateful, boorish behavior. But don't worry, Harry and Meghan are starting a charitable foundation to help you little people. Well, we in the U.S. have our own, though, royal wannabes, don't we? They also enjoy exploiting their former positions for piles of cash. Of course, I'm talking about the Clintons. They entered the White House in '92 worth nothing, but by the time they got settled into private life, Bill Clinton was worth $240 million. Did that many people really buy their lousy memoirs? That's on top of what they raised through the Clinton Foundation, which took in $249 million in Hillary Clinton's first year as Secretary of State. Well, they conveniently then grafted their daughter Chelsea into the scam by naming her vice chair of the foundation.
We are probably most well known for our work in health. We also work in climate change. We work on empowering women and girls around the world, particularly supporting women entrepreneurs around the world, from Haiti to West Africa to India.
Yeah, it's all about Haiti. Well, Chelsea is a woman best known for her last name with no discernible professional experience. I'm sure she's a nice person, but she also made $9 million since 2011 by just sitting on the board of an internet investment firm run by her mom's friend. And that's not all. For her non-existent experience in broadcast journalism, she was also paid $26,724 per minute as a special correspondent for NBC. Again, despite having zero broadcast experience or media talent. Now she's a best-selling children's author, occasionally sharing writing credit with that other beloved children's scribe, her mother, Hillary Clinton.
I will say I do talk to my mother more now that I have made her a grandmother. I have...
Definitely worth millions of dollars for that dog and pony show. Well, look, it's a routine copied by former Vice President Joe Biden's favorite son, Hunter. Middle-class Joe went from having possibly negative net worth to earning more than $15 million since leaving office. And his son seems to have learned the secret of success: nepotism. Hunter Biden raked in $50,000 a month, of course, as a member of that Ukrainian gas company, Burisma, despite having no energy experience at all. And we still don't know how Hunter benefited from his business deals in China, how much he benefited. But according to the Biden-loving media, it's the Trump children who are the real problem.
The Trump kids, almost every day they probably make more money than Hunter Biden made in all of his years in serving investors and companies abroad. So
certainly Hunter Biden was not the first one. You just look at the couple of the Trump kids.
Probably the most unethical group of people that we've ever seen in this republic.
I can't finish his monologue tonight. Here's the problem. The Trump kids didn't get rich off being in public office. They actually had made their money before the president was elected. It came from running something called a business, okay, making a payroll. In fact, the president, by some accounts, has lost money since taking office, maybe as much as $1 billion. His businesses, which his kids run, are suffering, some of them. Some of the properties and resorts are reportedly losing some money. But the media tell us it's the Trump kids who need to be watched and held in suspicion. That's kind of a nifty trick, isn't it? I guess the Trump kids need to go bankrupt in order to pass the ethics test of the left. Meanwhile, liberals with family connections and cool humanitarian ideas, but zero talent, they get to cash in and get a free pass. And that's the angle.